We all know water is essential, right?
Absolutely.
But I bet you'd be surprised to learn how much we actually rely on it.
Yeah.
Like, get this.
Okay.
It takes 4,000 liters of water per day
Wow.
to support just your lifestyle.
Hmm.
That's a lot.
That's everything, I assume.
Everything.
Yeah.
The food you eat, the clothes you wear.
It's the hidden water cost. Right?
Virtual water.
Yeah, embedded in everything we use and consume.
And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today.
Okay, great.
So you've got that big meeting coming up.
I do.
On water sustainability.
Okay.
We've got these 2 reports here that we're going to dive into.
Awesome.
To help get you prepped.
Perfect.
So the first one really lays out all the threats
Okay.
to global water resources.
Mhm.
And then the second one explores some potential solutions,
All right.
focusing specifically on this thing called an atmospheric water generator.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
Yeah.
So let's jump into this first report. They talk about this like dual water crisis.
Yes.
What does that even mean?
So basically, think about it this way.
Okay.
There's like the water we see, right?
Right.
So that's like our rivers and lakes.
Okay, yeah.
What they call blue water.
Okay.
But then there's also the moisture that's in the soil and in plants.
Oh.
Which is what they call green water.
Okay.
And they're both actually really important for the, hydrological cycle.
Right, yeah.
And often we just don't really think about green water as much.
Yeah, I mean, how does that play out?
Yeah.
In the real world, this like dual water crisis.
A great example is deforestation.
Okay.
So when you clear forests, you're not just getting rid of trees, right?
Yeah.
You're messing with that whole green water system.
Okay.
So you're going to have less moisture in the soil.
Yeah.
Which means less evaporation, which means less rainfall, which can impact regions far beyond, wherever that deforestation is happening.
So like, it's almost like a domino effect.
Yeah.
So even if like a country is, investing a lot in their water conservation, deforestation elsewhere in the world could still impact them.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's a really good point to think about for your meeting, I think.
Yeah.
Because people often don't think about that interconnectedness of water systems, really.
And this report says that over half of global food production is in areas that are already water stressed.
Right.
Including major population centers.
Yeah.
That's scary.
And it's not just the humanitarian crisis we have to worry about.
Right.
There's also a huge economic cost. So the report says that by 2050, high-income countries could see their GDP shrink by 8%.
Wow.
And then lower-income countries even more, between 10 and 15%.
Wow.
Just because of water scarcity.
So we've got deforestation messing with the water cycle. But then we've also got pollution.
Of course, yeah.
What are the big...
The usual suspects.
Yeah.
Agricultural runoff.
Right.
Industrial discharge.
Yeah.
Urban stormwater.
Yeah.
All that stuff ends up in our rivers and lakes.
And it's not just about contamination either.
Right.
Like, the report talks about pollution impacting this total water storage?
Yeah, so total water storage, or TWS, is like all the usable water in an area. So that includes, surface water, groundwater, even like the moisture in soil and snowpack and pollution. It reduces that TWS. By making the water unusable, basically.
So it's not just making it dirty.
Right.
It's like
shrinking.
Shrinking.
The amount of usable water
wow.
we have. So pollution is like actively shrinking the amount of water we have.
Exactly.
And it's not just pollution either.
No.
We've got over-extraction of water.
Yes, definitely a big one.
Especially with groundwater. Huge problem.
How big of a problem is this?
I mean, we're pumping it out faster than it can replenish.
Right.
Which leads to all these other problems.
Right, and that's like a ticking time bomb, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they talk about how this can impact food prices, too.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
Agriculture is the biggest consumer of water.
Right.
So as aquifers are depleted, the cost of irrigation goes way up.
Okay.
And those costs get passed on to us in the form of higher food prices.
So even if you live in a city miles away from a farm, you're still feeling it.
Yeah, you are.
When you go to the grocery store.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's crazy.
It is, and it's something that, I think is worth highlighting in your meeting.
Okay.
Because it really shows how these seemingly local choices have these far-reaching consequences.
So we've got pollution, we've got over-extraction, and then on top of that, we've got climate change.
Yeah, the big one.
Like, how does that play into everything?
Well, it basically just makes everything worse.
Okay.
Like, it's not just about droughts.
Right.
It's about the entire water cycle becoming more unpredictable and more extreme. Like, think about it.
Yeah.
There's this example in the report where they talk about how heavy rainfall in a place that's already polluted can actually contaminate the water supply even more.
Wow. Yeah.
So we're getting hit from all sides, basically.
And it's not just about, like, more extreme weather either.
No.
It's like the timing of everything.
Or the timing, the intensity,
is changing.
Yeah.
And that affects everything.
It affects agriculture, ecosystems, even the reliability of hydropower.
So it's like throwing a wrench in all our carefully laid plans.
Yeah.
So we've got pollution, over-extraction, climate change, all messing things up.
What else could go wrong, right? What else? Oh, there's one more.
Oh, no.
Aging infrastructure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like leaky pipes and things like that?
Leaky pipes. Inefficient treatment plants.
Right.
Lack of investment in modernization.
I think the report said that
it's a big issue.
Some cities lose like up to 30%.
I think that's right, yeah.
Of their treated water.
Yeah.
Before it even gets to people.
Through leaks.
Through leaks, yeah.
Crazy.
That's insane.
It is, and it's definitely something your meeting should address.
Yeah.
Because we're not just losing water, we're also increasing the risk of contamination.
So it's a financial drain and a health hazard.
All in one.
Whoa, this is making me thirsty.
Yeah, right.
So we've talked about all these physical challenges with water.
Yeah.
What about the human side of this crisis?
Yeah, I mean, that's where you get into the whole issues of access and water rights. Globally. Right.
Billions of people don't have access to safe water.
Right.
And sanitation.
Yeah.
And, this is often made worse by poverty and inequality.
Yeah, it's not just about having enough water.
Exactly.
It's about making sure everyone have it.
It's about access.
Yeah.
And as water becomes more scarce, this is only going to get worse, right?
Yeah.
And lead to more conflict, displacement.
So this is something.
Yeah, this is a big one.
That needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got pollution, over-extraction, climate change, aging infrastructure, and then the human element of all this.
I can't forget about the ocean either.
Oh, right, the ocean.
Yeah.
Often forgotten.
Often forgotten.
But very important.
Hugely important.
What's going on with the ocean?
Well, a lot of people see it as separate from freshwater issues.
Right.
But it's all connected.
Okay.
The health of the ocean has a direct impact.
On weather patterns, rainfall.
Right.
The availability of freshwater resources.
Worldwide.
Yeah. Worldwide.
So even if my meeting's focused on freshwater,
yeah,
I can't ignore the ocean?
You can't ignore the ocean.
No. Wow, it really is all connected.
It is.
Okay, so a lot of bad news here, but let's move into something a little more optimistic.
Yeah.
This second report talks about this technology called atmospheric water generators.
AWGs.
AWGs, yeah.
Interesting stuff.
What can you tell me about those?
So basically, they pull moisture from the air to produce clean drinking water.
Really?
Yeah. It's like having a high-tech dehumidifier that gives you bottled quality water.
That sounds amazing, especially for places that, struggle with water scarcity.
Absolutely.
But how do they work?
So think about it this way.
Okay.
When warm, humid air comes into contact with a cool surface, the water vapor condenses into liquid water. Right. So AWGs basically replicate that process. But on a larger scale, they use refrigeration technology to cool the air and then collect that condensed water.
That sounds almost too good to be true.
Yeah, it does.
Are there any limitations?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
So they work best in humid environments.
Okay.
The amount of water you can get from them really depends on the humidity and the temperature.
So like in the desert.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Not going to work as well.
Not ideal, no.
Yeah.
But, researchers are constantly working on improving them.
Right.
Some of the newer models use really advanced materials and designs to increase that water output and also reduce the energy they consume.
Well, that leads me to my next question.
Yeah.
Energy?
Uh-huh.
I imagine these things are pretty energy intensive.
It's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
I mean, cooling and condensing that water vapor.
Right. Does take energy.
Yeah.
And if that energy is coming from fossil fuels, then it kind of defeats the purpose, right? It's not really a sustainable solution.
So it really depends on the energy source.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's why there's so much focus on making them more efficient.
Okay.
And also on using renewable energy sources.
Right.
Like solar, wind.
To power them.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Any other environmental concerns?
Well,
yeah,
with any manufactured product,
yeah,
we have to think about the whole life cycle.
Okay.
So the production of AWGs.
Right.
The disposal of AWGs.
Yeah.
We have to be careful about that.
Okay.
To make sure we're minimizing the environmental impact.
So like responsible sourcing of materials.
Yeah.
End-of-life recycling.
Things like that. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
It's about making sure the solution doesn't create new problems down the road.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that's where, things like sustainable manufacturing and circular economy principles are really important.
But even with these challenges, it seems like AWGs could be a real game changer.
I think so.
Especially for communities that don't have access to traditional water sources.
They offer a decentralized, potentially sustainable solution for clean drinking water.
And the fact that you can pull water from the air literally anywhere makes them so versatile.
Yeah, I think
I could see this being useful in like emergency response. Like imagine after a hurricane or an earthquake, you could just bring in these AWGs.
Blue units,
Yeah, and they could just start pulling water from the air.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's incredible.
It is.
But let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
AWGs are just one piece.
They are.
Of this very complex puzzle.
Of a very complex puzzle.
Right. Technology alone isn't going to solve this.
It's not a magic bullet.
Yeah.
We need a more holistic approach that really addresses the root causes.
So like pollution control, water conservation.
All of that,
Addressing climate change.
Absolutely.
While also embracing these new technologies.
Exactly.
So what are some things that people can do?
So for individuals, I think it starts with awareness.
Okay.
Understanding your own water footprint.
Right.
Making conscious choices.
Yeah.
To conserve water at home.
Mm-hmm.
Supporting businesses that are prioritizing water stewardship.
So it's like voting with your wallet.
In a way, yeah. Okay. And then for governments, it's about enacting policies that promote conservation, investing in infrastructure, regulating pollution.
Okay.
And then industries, they have a huge role to play too.
What can they do?
Well, especially those with water-intensive operations. Adopting water-saving technologies.
Okay.
Reducing their waste. Exploring alternative water sources, like rainwater harvesting.
So it's about companies taking ownership of their water use.
Yeah, exactly.
This has been really eye-opening. Yeah.
It's complicated.
Really complex, this whole water crisis.
Absolutely.
And it's not just one thing. It's like all these things connected.
All these things, yeah.
And we need to be thinking about all of them.
At the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
What has stood out to you the most?
I think what's really struck me is just how complex it is.
Yeah.
It's not just a scientific challenge or an engineering challenge. Yeah. It's social, it's economic, it's political.
Yeah, we have to be thinking about
the
underlying systems that contribute to all of this.
Absolutely, yeah.
But, even with all this doom and gloom, there's some hope too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
What gives you hope?
I mean, just the level of innovation and creativity that we're seeing in the water sector, it's inspiring.
What are some examples of that?
Well, I mean, we've talked about AWGs.
Right.
But there's also, all these community-led conservation efforts.
Okay.
People all over the world
are
coming up with amazing solutions.
It's a good reminder that we're not powerless in this.
We're not.
Yeah.
We have the power to change things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about the challenges, the opportunities. What's one piece of advice you would give our listener as they prep for their meeting?
I would say go beyond the data.
Okay.
The technical details.
Right.
And really connect with the human side of this.
Okay.
Share stories of communities that are impacted.
Yeah.
Highlight the human cost of inaction.
Right.
Emphasize the importance of equitable solutions.
So it's about making it personal.
It is, yeah. Data's important.
Yeah.
But it's the stories that really move people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not just about numbers. It's about people's lives.
It's about people.
Okay, well, this has been great.
It has.
Really appreciate your insights.
Well, thank you.
I think we've given our listener a lot.
I think so, too.
To think about.
Yeah.
And I think this will be really helpful.
I hope so.
For them as they prepare for this meeting.
Yeah, best of luck.
So before we wrap up, we're going to take a short break. Right. And when we come back, we're going to delve a little deeper into the potential of these atmospheric water generators.
Sounds good.
Explore some of the challenges, the opportunities, and how this technology could reshape the way we think about water.
Very interesting.
In the 21st century.
Can't wait.
Let's stay tuned.
We'll be right back. So before the break, we were talking about atmospheric water generators.
Right, AWGs.
AWGs,
And their potential to really address water scarcity.
Especially in those hard-hit regions.
But like any technology, they come with some challenges.
They do.
We talked about how they work best in humid environments.
Right.
What about the energy consumption?
Yeah, so that's...
I imagine it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, it does.
To pull water from the air.
It's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
Because the process of, cooling the air and condensing that water vapor does require energy.
Yeah.
And if that energy is coming from, fossil fuels, then it could kind of offset those environmental benefits.
So it really depends on where that energy is coming from.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that's why there's a lot of research focused on improving energy efficiency and integrating renewables, like solar and wind, to power these systems.
So running them on like clean energy really maximizes their impact.
Exactly.
What about other environmental concerns?
Well, like with any manufactured product, you have to think about the whole life cycle.
Okay.
So the production of AWGs, the disposal of AWGs, all that needs to be considered to minimize that footprint.
So like where the materials are coming from and then what happens to the AWG at the end of its life.
Exactly, like end-of-life recycling.
Right.
Things like that.
Okay.
Making sure the solution doesn't create new problems later on.
Right. That makes sense.
And that's where you get into those ideas of sustainable manufacturing, circular economy principles.
But even with these challenges, they still seem like a pretty good solution.
They do.
Especially for communities that...
Yeah, they offer a decentralized and potentially very sustainable solution.
Especially in those places with high humidity, where traditional water sources are hard to come by.
Yeah.
And the fact that they can just pull water from the air.
Pull it right out of the air.
Makes them incredibly versatile.
Yeah.
Like, I could see this being really useful for emergency response.
Yes, disaster relief.
Yeah.
Huge potential there.
Like after a hurricane, an earthquake, you could bring in these mobile units and they could just start cruising clean water.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing technology.
Yeah, incredible.
It is.
But we've got to be careful about getting too excited about one technology.
Yeah, AWGs are just one piece.
One piece.
Of a much larger...
Yeah, of a much larger puzzle.
So
technology alone won't solve this.
It's not a silver bullet.
Yeah. We need a more...
multifaceted approach.
Yeah. So that means addressing things like
pollution. Conservation. Climate change. All of those things.
All those root causes.
Yeah.
While also...
embracing these new technologies.
Exactly.
So what are some things that people can actually do?
I think for individuals, it really starts with awareness.
Okay.
Understanding your own water footprint.
Right.
Making choices to conserve water. At home. In your daily life.
Right.
Supporting businesses that, prioritize water stewardship.
So it's like voting with your dollar.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
And then for governments, it's about enacting policies that promote conservation.
Okay.
Investing in infrastructure, regulating pollution. Okay. And then industries, especially those that rely heavily on water.
Right.
They have a big role to play.
What can they do? So adopting water-saving technologies.
Okay.
Reducing their waste. Exploring alternative water sources.
Okay.
Like rainwater harvesting.
So it's about companies taking responsibility?
Exactly.
For their water use?
Yeah. Taking ownership.
This has been really eye-opening.
Complicated.
It is complicated. It's really highlighted
it has.
How complex this whole thing is. This whole water crisis.
And it's not just one thing.
Yeah. It's not just...
It's a system.
One thing.
It's a whole system.
It's a whole system.
With all these interconnected parts.
What has stood out to you the most?
I think for me, it's the complexity of it all.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just a science problem or an engineering problem.
Right.
It's social, it's economic, it's political.
Yeah, we've got to be thinking about all of those underlying systems.
Absolutely.
But even with all the doom and gloom,
yeah,
there is some hope.
There's a lot of hope.
Yeah, what gives you hope?
The innovation.
Okay.
The creativity that we're seeing in the water sector right now.
What are some examples of that?
Well, we've talked about AWGs.
Yeah.
But there's also all these community-led conservation efforts.
Okay.
People all over the world are coming up with amazing solutions.
Yeah, that's a good reminder that we're not powerless in all of this.
No, we can make a difference.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges.
We have.
We've talked about the opportunities.
A lot to think about.
Yeah, what's one piece of advice you would give our listener as they prepare for their meeting?
I think the most important thing is to go beyond just the data, the technical details, and really connect with the human element.
The human element.
Yeah, share stories of communities that are impacted.
Yeah.
Highlight the human cost of inaction.
Right.
And really emphasize the need for equitable solutions.
Yeah, it's about making it personal.
Yeah, data is important.
Right.
But it's the stories that really move people.
Yeah, I think that's good advice.
Yeah, and you know, in your meeting, think about how you can connect these global issues to your specific audience, their goals, their challenges.
So make it relevant to them.
Make it relevant,
Okay.
Don't be afraid to challenge conventional thinking.
Okay.
Talk about AWGs.
Yeah.
How they could be used for disaster preparedness.
Right.
Or even creating water-neutral communities.
It's like thinking outside the box a little bit.
A little bit.
This report actually had this question.
Oh, yeah?
Could AWGs be the key to making entire industries water neutral?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, like imagine companies could just
generate their own water.
Generate all the water they need right on site. Minimize their impact on local water sources.
Yeah, and we're already starting to see companies exploring that possibility.
So it's not that far-fetched.
Not at all.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah, it is.
That we really need to
be creative,
ambitious, and really just think outside the box.
We need to think differently about these problems.
So as our listener prepares for this meeting, what are some key things they should keep in mind?
I think it's really important to foster that sense of collective responsibility.
Okay.
Bring people together to find solutions that work for everyone.
So it's not just about presenting information.
It's about having a conversation.
Yeah, a conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, this has been great.
Yeah, it has.
Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I think we've given our listener
I think so too.
A lot to think about.
A lot to consider.
As they prepare for this meeting.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about the challenges.
We have.
We've talked about the opportunities.
A lot of it.
And it's clear that this is a really complex issue.
It is.
This whole water crisis.
Very complex.
But it's not just about finding those technological solutions.
It's more than that.
It's about really addressing those root causes.
Root causes,
Promoting sustainable practices.
Absolutely.
And then also making sure that everyone has access.
Yes. Equitable access.
To clean water.
To clean water,
So we've reached the end.
We have.
Of our deep dive.
Been a good one.
Into this incredibly important topic.
It happened.
The source of life.
Yeah. And we hope that this exploration has left you feeling informed, inspired, ready to make a difference.
Ready to take action.
Good luck with your meeting.
Best of luck.
We're confident that you'll have
I am too.
A positive impact.
You got this. So until next time, stay curious.
Stay curious.
And keep exploring.
Keep exploring.
All right, so we've talked a lot about
the
global water crisis, all those interconnected challenges, and some potential solutions out there.
Absolutely.
I want to circle back, though,
to
your upcoming meeting on water sustainability.
Right.
We talked about how important it is to have this systems thinking approach.
It's really the only way to address this effectively.
Connecting all the dots between environmental, social,
all of the
economic factors.
Yeah, you got to look at the whole picture.
As you're prepping for this meeting, what are some ways that you think you can tailor all this information?
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Because you really have to think about who you're talking to.
Right.
What their goals are.
Right.
What their challenges are.
It's not just about presenting the information.
No, it's about making it relevant and actionable for them.
So, for example, if this meeting is about like a specific region, you could talk about how deforestation in one area can actually impact rainfall patterns.
Thousands of miles away.
Thousands of miles away.
Affecting food security.
Yeah.
Economic stability.
So it's about connecting those dots.
Connecting the dots,
between what seems like a faraway issue and what's happening locally.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Don't be afraid to, think outside the box a little.
No, absolutely.
Talk about AWGs.
Yeah, talk about how...
disaster preparedness.
Yeah, disaster preparedness. Or...
creating water-neutral communities.
That's a big one.
That brings up a question that I had from this second report.
Yeah.
Could AWGs be the key to making entire industries water neutral?
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah, imagine companies...
Yeah, imagine if they could
generate all the water they need.
On site.
On site.
Minimize their impact.
It'd be incredible.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're already starting to see companies explore that.
Really?
Yes, especially in areas where water is really scarce.
Right.
It just makes economic sense.
It's not that far-fetched.
Nah.
This whole idea that we could have these water-neutral industries.
And I think that's a good reminder that we have to be creative.
We have to be...
ambitious.
Ambitious, yeah.
Think outside the box.
Think outside the box, because these are big challenges.
They are.
But we need big solutions.
We do.
So, what are some final thoughts as our listener gets ready for this meeting?
I think what's really important is fostering that sense of collective responsibility.
Okay.
Bring people together.
Yeah.
Find solutions that work for everyone. So it's not just about standing up and lecturing at people.
No, it's about having
that conversation.
Getting people involved.
Okay. Well, this has been great.
It has.
Really appreciate your insights on all of this.
Well, thank you for having me.
I think we've given our listener...
I think so, too.
A lot to consider.
A lot to think about.
As they get ready for this very important meeting.
Absolutely.
We've talked about.
We've covered a lot.
The challenges, the opportunities. And it's clear.
It's clear.
This is not an easy issue.
No easy answers.
No easy answers.
But there is hope.
There is hope.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really important takeaway.
It is. Well... On that note, we've reached the end.
I have our deep dive.
Another one down.
Into this incredibly important...
It is important.
...topic of water.
Absolutely.
And we hope that you've learned some things.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel inspired.
Inspired to make a difference.
To take action.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you.
Yes. Thank you for joining us.
For joining us.
On this deep dive.
On this journey.
Into the world of water.
Of exploration and discovery.
And remember...
Yeah.
Every drop counts.
Every drop counts.
So keep learning.
Keep exploring.
And keep a difference.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.